Do you think a teacher is necessary to help you walk through this process? I feel like I need a final push off the cliff. And many times it's...
Your question is the answer to your question. Because...
I feel like there's...
In other words, if you have to ask that question, yes, a teacher is necessary. By asking the question, you are making the teacher necessary.
Yeah.
I only become a teacher when somebody asks me a question. If I ask somebody a question, I become their student.
It just feels like there's nothing left for me to do.
And yet you need a final push.
As we said last time, it doesn't seem like you can force the process.
Yes.
And I don't want to sit at the gate, an imaginary gate for... and all the rest seems uninteresting to me anymore. It's like there's a fire too, just that long.
Yes. There's a time when the path of investigation turns into the path of self-investigation turns into the path of self-abidance. When thought has taken us to the threshold of ourself. And from there on, it's just between ourself and itself. It's just, there's nothing more for thought to do. It's redirected our attention away from the objects that we seem to know, back to the threshold of the knower. And then from that threshold, it's just between ourself and itself. It's just a matter of self-abidance rather than self-investigation or self-attention. Self-abidance. And it's in this abidance as ourself that the memory of our eternity comes to us, comes to itself. Which means what we essentially are is gradually, in most cases, divested of the limitations that thought and feeling have superimposed upon it.
It was easier before because there was a fire of fear, suffering, whatever, that propels you in a rut.
But that's very good, because that fire has propelled you, first of all, for the first half of your life, it propelled you outwards towards objects in order to quench that fire. Then when you were sufficiently disappointed by objects, the same fire of suffering redirected your attention back towards its source. But having taken you to the threshold of the source, it can't do any more for you. There's nothing else to do. And as you said the other day, there's nothing else to hope for. But the end of hope is not hopeless. There's just nothing objective any longer that can fulfill you. Even the desire to be pushed is a subtle residue of the desire to go from here to there.
There's nowhere to go.
So even that residual desire to be pushed, you feel the impulse in that to move away from something, that is to move away from yourself towards something. There's just a little impulse left. Yes, you're not going out towards objects. You've realized the end of the dissolution of hope that we discussed a couple of days ago. But this desire to be pushed is just a remnant of the old desire to want to go towards an object. You are on this side of the push. If anything, it's a pull. It's a falling back into yourself, not a push into something that is away from yourself.
I mean, on the one hand, when you were saying before that there seems to be like a final destination, but yet it's an ongoing process that never ends, but there's a final resting. And I mean, it's almost as if an acceptance of this human celebration, whatever it is, even I don't know how to explain it.
It's both a resting and a process. It's a resting, it's an abiding as the presence of awareness. That is a sinking deeply into yourself and abiding there. And then this gradual process that we've been discussing in the last couple of mornings, this offering of the objects of the body-mind world, particularly the body and the world, our sensations and perceptions, an offering of this, of the sensations and perceptions to the depths of our being, and the gradual dissolution of their objectness, their separate me-ness in this bath of awareness. So the awareness is self-abiding, self-resting. And then there is this gradual process, this process of cooperation, where we offer the body and the world to this peaceful, loving presence. So it's both. And in practice, we can alternate between the two approaches. There are times when we don't want to explore or investigate. We just want to be. We just want to rest. We just want to let everything be as it is. No exploration, no investigation, no yoga, no meditation, just to sink into ourselves and to be knowingly this open, empty presence of awareness. And then at other times we take this slightly more proactive approach, where we start with this abidance as presence, but we cooperate with the dissolution of the sense of separation in the body, that is in our sensations and our perceptions. So in practice, we can alternate between these two. And how should we choose between them? Just do whatever feels most enjoyable at any given moment, whichever you feel moved to do. And indeed your work, the work you are doing, is one such process. The work you are doing is part of this yoga of sensation and perception, where your relationship with your activities and relationships with children are being infused with your deepest love and understanding. So that is completely included. It's like its own particular kind of yoga.